right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Prepare Your Shelf for September 2nd, right after to kick off your September post-Labor Day reads. My name is Amy. I'm one of the buyers.
And I'm Elizabeth. I'm the marketing manager here.
And we're here to share some books that are coming out this week.
Yeah, I'm excited for the beginning of fall season books.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a great season for book lovers.
Yes.
Just warning you right up front.
Yes.
All right. I am going to start with a YA anthology book called For the Rest of Us. And it is a collection of stories by 14 different YA authors. So I'm not going to list them all here, but they're all incredible authors. Just trust me on that. And they have each written a story of a holiday that is not your typical Christmas stories. So it's a year of festive stories from a variety of perspectives, celebrating cultures and religious groups from around the world. And it really is trying to reclaim that holiday story mentality of this doesn't have to just be a Christmas story. As much as we love Christmas, there are so many holiday stories that we could be telling, and we're going to put them together here in this YA anthology. So I'm really excited for this book to kind of expand my worldview of holiday stories and to be able to sell to people who are of a variety of different backgrounds. Lots of educational appeal if you want to talk to your kids, or if you are a teacher and have a classroom of kids about different holidays and festivals. And you could read this all year long because the festivals happen all over the year.
So it's not just winter holidays.
No, not just winter holidays. All throughout the year. Yeah.
Great. All right, my first one is Land So Wide by Erin A. Craig. Erin is one of our Michigan favorite local authors. She writes dark fairy tales like House of Salt and Sorrows, and most recently The 13th Child for young adults. This is her adult debut. It is just as sort of creepy, spooky, dark fairy tale. It draws from Scottish folklore, and it takes place in a little town called Mistaken, where everyone who is part of that community is trapped there. They can go out of the community settlement during the day and explore, but they can't go more than a day's walk away, or because by nightfall, they have to be back inside the boundaries of the town, which are marked by these warding stones. And if they are not, the magic of the town will literally pull them back to the town. So they're very careful about that.
Yeah.
And there's all sorts of lore and stories about why that is and what the warding stones are. The warding stones protect them from the Bright-Eyes, which are monsters that live out in the woods and have sort of decimated other communities. And you learn a little bit more about what the Bright-Eyes are as you go through the book. So the warding stones protect, but they don't know why. And suddenly the warding stones start moving, and it just gets kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And it follows, the main character's name is Greer. She's a young woman who loves to do map making. And so she likes to explore and is trying to map the area while also staying within reasonable distances. And then the man that she loves is suddenly sort of expelled from the community. And so she finds a way to follow him and try to track him down and save his life so that he doesn't get attacked by these monsters. And along the way has to sort of unlearn all of the stories that she was told about her community and what was true and what wasn't, and about her identity and about what is going on in this world, while also trying to save this person. It's super atmospheric, super creepy, but not I am kind of a wuss. I don't read horror. This is creepy. It's a really good fall spooky read, but I could handle it. It wasn't too much for me. Greer has this strong desire for knowledge and freedom that is very, very compelling. So even though it's a spooky setting, it's I can relate to that. So yeah, check out A Land So Wide. Oh, and we have an event with Erin next week on the 9th, where she will be here with another author that I forgot to write down the name of, and I apologize for that. He wrote American Mythology. And they will be in our Grand Rapids studio, and she'll be signing books.
Yes. That's great. My next one is Girl, Goddess, Queen by B. Fitzgerald. And I'm very excited about this one. It's another YA. I decided to go YA today for my picks. But a YA fantasy reimagining of Persephone and Hades. And what if the story that we knew is not quite right? What if Persephone was not stolen and claimed by Hades, but instead she decided to jump into hell? So she is there on her own plan, instead of kind of the traditional story of Hades claiming her, but now she is ready to like tell her own story, her own side of it. And there's gonna be some like fake dating, enemies to lovers situations as well. It's they described it as Broadway's and Juliet meets Six the musical, but make it Greek.
Okay.
So if you like any of those things, and I think it'll be really fun. This is actually a British author who this was out in the UK probably 2 years ago,
Oh,
but she blew up on TikTok, and now we're finally getting it in the US. So it's also something that you may have heard of, but we didn't have access to until now, which is fun and exciting that we finally get to sell it here.
yes. All right, I have another historical fiction. This is Amity by Nathan Harris. This is a post-Civil War era novel. So it's, examining a pocket of history that we don't necessarily see as much about in the years just after the Civil War. It's about a brother and a sister, June and Coleman, who both were slaves owned by the same master. Just after the Civil War ends, emancipation, they are freed. The master takes June to Mexico to try to escape some of the regulations. Coleman stays with the family, but as a working person, hoping that June will be returned and then they can go off and live their lives. At one point, Coleman receives a letter from their former master summoning him to Mexico, and he thinks, okay, June is going to be free, we can be reunited. And so he starts this trek across the deserts of Mexico to try to reunite with his sister June. It is not an easy journey. He and his companion are being tracked down by henchmen who are trying to recapture them. The situation with June is not what he anticipated it being. It is a difficult story to read, but it is so beautifully written. It's being comped to books like James by Percival Everett that was popular last year, or The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. Thank you. In the ways that it uses these big episodic journeys across vast landscapes to sort of illustrate the complexities of the situation, particularly the complexities of freed slaves in this time period when freedom still really was not accessible to them. Yeah. So this is getting a lot of hype, especially from our reps, as just one of those really beautiful, powerful historical fiction novels. So really looking forward to it.
All right, my last one is just a quick shout out for a new edition of Hansel and Gretel, retold by Stephen King, which I think will pique a lot of ears. And as well as Stephen King being on this project, they have used the illustrations of Maurice Sendak.
Sendak, yes.
Sendak, okay. Who wrote Where the Wild Things Are, created that world. And at some point in his life, he has now passed away, but at some point in his life, he had made these illustrations of the opera design, sets, and costumes for Hansel and Gretel. And so that's what they've used as the illustrations in this book. And then the story itself is retold by Stephen King. And I think a lot of people will be interested in that.
What a unique
collaboration.
From all angles.
For sure.
I also have one little quick shout out of a picture book. It's called Dear Acorn, Love Oak, Letter Poems to Friends by Joyce Sidman and illustrated by Melissa Sweet. This is a whole book with gorgeous, adorable illustrations of different characters or parts of nature writing letters to each other, but they're in poems, and just helps you to show how we're all connected in big ways and small ways. One of the samples that I read was a giant oak tree writing to a little acorn. The teacher in me is oh, you could teach poetry, you could teach letter writing format. There's so much in this that I think everybody could find something in it to love.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us today. And we hope you have happy reading.
See you next week.